I want to do a quick video about recognizing and therefore creating measurable learning objectives. I hope this video comes out okay. I'm doing it on my front porch, which is one of my absolute favorite places to be. It is a challenge to create measurable learning objectives. This is a challenge that, as you've probably already seen in the course, that many faculty that have been teaching for a long time, they struggle with, because they and we all know in our head what we want our students to be able to do or what we want them to do. But sometimes it's really hard to put those into action-oriented words. So I want to give you a little, just kind of a 2-second overview or reminder. You know, Dr. Mills talked about the SMART learning objectives, specific being one objective at a time, measurable. This is the big one. Is it achievable? Is it realistic? And timed, that's one that is not often used. Only use it if it matters. If there's a specific time limit in which the task needs to be done, then add in the time. But if not, that's fine. Okay? So you could always pull out your Bloom's taxonomy documents if you wanted to as we go through this. So what we're going to do, I'm going to put a objective up on the screen, and I want you to think about, is it measurable or is it not measurable, and why it is or isn't. So this is something that I have seen in a syllabus. Realize the significance of ethical behavior in the business environment. Is that really a SMART learning objective? Yes or no? The answer is no, because realize is not something that you can measure. You could only measure someone's realization if they wrote something out, if they talked to you about it, or wrote an essay, gave a presentation. And if those are the assessments, then the first word needs to be changed. Demonstrate, discuss the significance of ethical behavior in the business environment. So realize, the word realize is not measurable. Next one. Document the critical events leading to the beginning of World War I. Is this a SMART learning objective? Yes or no, and why? So the answer is yes. It is a measurable learning objective. Document is a measurable or an action verb. You can ask students to document it, and exactly how you do that, that's going to come out when you write the assessment, when you write the assignment. But you can see someone's documentation in that, so therefore it is measurable. Let's try another one. Identify the 7 most serious risks associated with cigarette smoking. Or we could always put vaping in there as well. Is it a SMART learning objective? The answer is yes. Identify is a very measurable, action-oriented word. There are a variety of assignments or assessments that students can do to identify the 7 most serious risks. Maybe they list those 7 most serious risks, or amongst 10 risks, they identify the 7 most. Another one. Understand the continuing impact of World War II in the European Union. Is this a SMART objective? The answer is no. You can't see someone's understanding. You can see their understanding only if they do something, such as discuss the continuing impact or explain the continuing impact. And they can do the discussing and explaining through an essay or through a video or through any other means. But the concept is you can't see their understanding unless they do something else. So the word understand is not measurable. This is the big one that faculty struggle with. They want students to understand these concepts, and so you see understand a lot in lists of learning objectives, but understand is not a measurable word. So think about it, look at your syllabus, look at your objectives, and consider what you want to have students do with the information. Not what do you want them to think, not what do you want them to understand, but what do you want them to do with the information. So demonstrate, I think we talked about before, that is a measurable word. Describe, absolutely. Another way to think about your objectives could be to think about your assessments or your assignments first. Then choose your objectives, your action words, based on how you're going to assess your students. If you're giving students a multiple choice test, what action word or words might you use? So we could go back to identify. That fits a multiple choice test. We could go back to choose. We could use the word list, sort of. Identify is probably a big one. But think about, in a multiple choice test, though, they would not be meeting the objective of discussing or explaining, because multiple choice tests don't give students that opportunity. So make sure that, and we're going to talk about this more later, but make sure that your objective words, your action words, and your assessments align. If you're going to use an essay with the students or have them turn in something that is written, what kind of action word might you use? Think about that for a minute. And you can pause the video longer if you want to, but some words are discuss, explain, list, maybe. Let's see, other things that you're giving an essay. Discuss and explain are kind of big ones that come to my mind immediately, but you could pros and cons. You can look at that Bloom's taxonomy list and see what would work for you. But again, it could be that thinking about your assessment first will help you write those learning objectives. Share your lesson learning objectives. So that's one of your assignments this week, and I'll talk about that in the other video.